Welcome to you, sir. And over to Rangan Ramakrishnan ji. Dr. Rangan Ramakrishnan ji, he will be joining us within a minute. So we request our gatherings to just wait for a few minutes. He will be joining us and addressing on this topic. I request the participants, in case if they are finding an issue with their technical issues of joining us and connecting to us, kindly exit and try to rejoin. It may help for better connectivity.
Our students here.
Dr. Ranganji, you're welcome to this session and we request you to take over from now.
Am I audible?
Very audible. You're audible, Ranganji.
Okay, thank you.
And if you can switch on your video.
Okay. Yeah. Switch on the moment.
I have introduced about you to the gatherings. Now I
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
What happened?
And I request the gatherings to put down your questions in the chat box as the session is about to complete. We will read your questions to the speaker.
Okay.
Ranganji, we request your video to be on. You're not visible.
We are trying just a few seconds.
Yeah, sure.
I hope that it is coming. Correct?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hello. I am not able to switch on my video. I don't know. Yes, I have clicked on it. It's showing yes. It's here, but it's not showing now.
Yes, Ranganji, you're visible.
Okay.
Thank you for your presence. And our Dean sir will speak a few words and then you can see.
Dr. Ranganji, you are one of the members of our division, and you have kindly given consent to speak on this topic. Our aim of this webinar is to find out a practical way of spirituality to cure the mental and physical diseases, because spirituality is our wealth of our country. So spirituality is the therapy, alternative therapy for Adi and Vyadi both. So this I request you to kindly speak on this. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ranganji.
Dhanyavad. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Relax your whole body. Have a deep breath and exhale. recite Omkara once. Feel the resonance throughout your body. Enjoy the resonance. The resonance merges in silence. Om Shive Navachasa Twagirisa Vadamasi Yatha Sarvamid Jagada Yakshmagum Sumana Asat Adhyavochadadhi Bhakta Prathamo Daivyo Bhishak Ahigascha Sarvaan Jambayan Sarvaascha Yatu Dhanyaha. Let us start the session with this mantra, which prays for universal health. Shivena Vachasa Tva. May we submit our auspicious words to Lord Shiva, Sri Rudra. For what? Yatha na sarvamit jagat ayakshmagum sumana asat. May the whole world, sarvam jagat, ayakshmam bhavatu. May the whole world be diseaseless. May the whole world be healthy. This is a prayer. To accomplish health, what is needed? Sumanaha. Good mind. Shobana manaha. So manaha means auspicious mind, good mind. May the whole world be with the whole good mind. So the prayer runs in this way. May the whole world be healthy, and may the whole world be good-hearted, through which the health can get accomplished. Adhyavochat adhivakta prathamo daivyaha bishak. Adhivakta prathamo daivyo bishak. Daivyo bishak means divine physician. Lord Shiva is described as a divine physician. And Prathamo Daivyo Bishak, the first physician. Prathamaha also can mean important. Okay. Important physician, the supreme physician, the first physician. And his adjective is Adhivakta. He talks, he delivers a discourse which can remove the ailments in us. It means he is a good counselor. Adhivakta, the tone of this word Adhivakta here is counselor. Lord Shiva is the best physician, the best counselor of the world. Adhyavochat, he counseled. Adhyavochat adhivakta prathamo daivyo bishak. Ahigascha sarvan jambhayan sarvascha yatu dhanyaha. He counseled in such a way, he through his counseling removed all the unconscious psychic imprints in our mind, vasanas in our mind. Sarvascha yatu dhanyaha, unconscious hurting sensations in us. Ahi superficially means serpent. Generally, in Sanskrit dictionary, if you see the word ahi, it is serpent. Yatudhana superficially means demon. External meaning of Yatudhana, exoteric meaning of ahi, or serpent and a demon. But in the context of Veda, ahis are vasanas that are within ourselves, unconsciously hiding in us. So that's why I translated this ahi as unconscious psychic imprints. This is esoteric meaning of this passage. Yatudhana, Sayana interprets Yatudhana as himsakas. That is why I took it as hurting sensations. Kama yesha, krodha yesha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. Kama, krodha, the baser instincts that impel kama and krodha, they are called as yatudhanas, they are called as ahis. Unfortunately, we don't know that these dusts are remaining in the unconscious layer of our mind. We don't recognize our problem. But with the grace of Lord Shiva, all these ugly things in us are removed, so that let us have a healthy life. This is the prayer in the Veda. Sarvamit Jagat Ayakshmam Sumana Asat. So, the prayer of the Veda not only has an objective of removing the disease, but mainly it focuses on removing the cause of that disease. As we find in Rigveda, in 10th Mandala, in Oshadhi Sukta, there is a mantra. A physician is giving Oshadhi to a diseased person. What the Veda has to pray here? May this Oshadhi remove the disease. May this Oshadhi remove malady. That prayer is enough. But the Vedic mantra says, Atma yakshmasya nashyati pura jiva gribho yatha. Yakshma nivarana is enough. But what is this Yakshma's Atma? Atma yakshmasya nashyati. Generally, Atman in the Vedic Samhita is either essence or core. So prayer runs in this way. May the essence of the disease get eliminated. May the core of the disease get eliminated. Yeah. In my view, this is the starting point of Ayurveda. Okay. Generally, tradition connects every Upaveda with some original Veda. Okay. And Ayurveda is connected with Rigveda. Ayurveda originated from Rigveda. How we know? From which place it got originated? If this question is asked, in what way Ayurveda is connected to Rigveda? This mantra can help us. The essence of Ayurveda is to find the cause of the disease. Rigveda, in its prayer of a physician, prays Atma yakshmasya nashyati. It talks about the core of disease, cause of disease, and the essence of disease. What can be the essence of disease? Somewhere in our lifestyle, we might have gone against nature. That can be the essence or core of the disease, point number one. Point number 2, disease has come to us due to the acceleration of our mind. That also can be the reason for disease. Mental speed has brought us disease. This is well known in our Yasvyasa. Yasvyasa has developed a wonderful model regarding this. Yoga therapy is based on this. Let me explain this. We have shlokas in the Gita. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodho bijayate krodhat bhavati sammohaha sammohat smriti vibhramaha smriti bhramshat buddhinashaha buddhinashat pranashyati dhyayataha vishayan pumsaha. First of all, one sees an object, then he develops liking towards that object, and this liking grows. Sangasteshu upajayate. He gets attached to that object through his mind. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. This attachment leads to desire. I want to possess it. If you enjoy some object on seeing it, it's not a problem. For example, you see the moon and enjoy it. Moon is beautiful. You enjoy that moon. It's not a problem. If you are enjoying a blossom, it's not a problem. If you enjoy sunlight, it's not a problem. The problem comes as soon as you try to possess it. When? Not by enjoying a moon. While enjoying an ornament. What's the difference between enjoying the moon and enjoying an ornament? In a jewelry shop, you see a jewel and start to enjoy. There is a difference. Even though you enjoy the moon, you have no plan to possess it. But in jewelry shop, if you enjoy that ornament, already an instinct stirs in our mind to possess that ornament. That notion of possession is the problem. Sangat sanjayate kamaha. I want that ornament. I want that ornament. I need that ornament. I'm in need of that ornament. I know that I can't get that. It's because I don't have a huge amount of money to get it. Therefore, I become angry. Kamat krodho bijayate. I become angry. Angry with whom? Probably angry with the inability, with my inability to earn money, or I am angry with the one who has fixed the high cost for that jewel. Somehow the anger comes, dissatisfaction comes there. Kamat krodho vijayate. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. From that krodha, from that anger, moha occurs. Moha means somehow I have to possess that ornament, come what may. I want to possess that jewel, or I want to possess all jewels in that jewelry shop. I should become a wandering jewelry shop by myself. For that, anything can be done. Krodhat bhavati sammohaha. Sammohat smriti vibhramaha. Through that, there is a loss of memory, smriti vibhramaha. Smriti bhramshat buddhi nashaha. And through this loss of memory, we lose our intelligence. When we lose our intelligence, or when we lose our discriminative power, discrimination of what is right and what is wrong, discrimination of what is good to us and what is bad to us, discrimination of what is permanent and what is temporary. This is Viveka. A very sharp kind of discrimination is required. Very powerful discrimination is. Vedanta requires Viveka, Yoga requires Viveka, Sankhya requires Viveka. Any science, any spiritual science glorifies this Viveka. Viveka khyatihi aviplava hanopayaha, Patanjali says. Take the sword called Viveka and sharply cut and find what is right, what is wrong, what is good and what is bad. Unfortunately, we are not sharpening our Viveka. So if Viveka is lost, everything is lost. Buddhinashat pranashyati. Buddhinashat sarvanashaha, says Bhakti Sutra. So this psychological process which Sri Krishna is giving here beautifully, cause and effect, I think that this is karma theory. This cycle in which we have got trapped for a long time, this makes our karma to run even after leaving this body. The same cycle will start to run in another body unless we dissolve this problem, unless we can't get liberation at any cost. Stoppage of vasanas, stoppage of this flow in mind is moksha, as a liberation. Coming to the point, why I am telling these shlokas, why I am explaining this, because so in this psychological process, what is happening? Yes, cause and effect are perfect. First Vishaya Dhyana, then Sangha, then Kama, then Krodha, then Moha. Through Moha, Smriti Nasha, then Buddhi Nasha, then Sarva Nasha. The psychological process is perfect, but what is common in all these things, if we closely observe while this process is going on, you can find out one thing, perhaps two things. One, loss of vigilance, loss of awareness. Second thing, speed, mental speed. Krishna says in the Gita, in another context he says, here he is talking about Kama and Krodha. In another context he says, our Professor Satyanarayana Shastri quotes this for his theory of speed. Kama krododbhavam vegam. Okay. Yeah, you may talk on Kama, Krodha, Moha, Smriti Bhramsha, Buddhinasha, Sarvanasha and all. In the whole process, what is there? Kama krododbhavam vegam. Yeah, that's it. There you have caught the point. Yes. If you understand this, vegam, speed, that's the problem. Stress is the problem. The literal meaning of stress, two meanings the stress has. One, excessiveness, another one, speed. In English language, there is something called stress and pause, they say. There the stress again means to emphasize, right? This emphasis also is a kind of excessiveness. That is why there the word stress is used. Here in psychology, stress has excessiveness and speed as its nature. You feel a pressure, you feel a depression, you feel a pressure, you feel a weight in your head. With that, speed also you can feel. Mentally, if you feel these two things, acceleration and pressure, that is stress. Stress management, some people call stress manage. We should learn how to manage stress. There is no need of stress at all, some people may tell you. But stress is needed. Stress is required. Yes. What is stress? Fight or flight situation. Is it required or not? If a snake comes here while I am talking in my chamber or in your chamber while you are listening, if a snake comes, you will either fight with that snake or flight. Fight or flight situation is stress. While you are fighting or flighting, how your body and mind will be. That mind-body condition while you fight or flight is called as stress. Is this required or not? It's required. But it's required only when a serpent comes into my chamber, not always. Unfortunately, in our postmodern world, we have created a situation where we enjoy that stress throughout our life. Not only when the serpent comes, okay. Not only when the serpent comes, we enjoy throughout the life. Sri Mohanji used to give an example, a nice example. A serpent comes, a boy, he came little later, that too, he was coming by running, a small boy. Teacher asked, why are you running? I am running because dog is chasing me. If a dog chases you, you should not run, my dear. Then the dog will start to chase further. This boy is a small boy. Generally, small boys question a lot. They are interested to question. Therefore, this boy asks another question. Okay, if a dog chases, we are not supposed to run, sir. But if a serpent chases, what am I supposed to do? Yes. If a serpent chases, you have to run. Then the boy asked the third question, for which we have no reply at all. Mischievous boy, he asked the third question. If a dog and a serpent chase together, what we are supposed to do? That's the situation in which we are in this postmodern era. Catch-22 situation. If we run fast, then if we accelerate ourselves, we will be afflicted with diseases. If we don't accelerate this rat race, we will fail, we will lose, we will not be winners, we will be dropouts from the society. So what are we supposed to do? Very tough question. Very tough question. Anyhow, this Vega is required when it is necessary, when the serpent comes to our chamber. But we can't maintain that Vega always throughout our life. that kind of situation we have created for us in this so-called modern era. What happens at the time of growing acceleration? This is there in that model of yoga therapy. That what happens exactly when we see an object, I develop desire to the object, I want to possess it, I want it, I need it, I'm in need of it, I'm in need of it. So gradually what happens? Mental thoughts get accelerated, it becomes very speedy. Further, the speed grows. And there is a volcanic eruption in our mind, in our psyche. Here we have to understand an important thing. With that speed, what happens? The speed in our physical layer also grows. We get acceleration in our cardiac output. We get acceleration in our blood flow. Every limb of us and every organ of us loses its own nature of peace, gets into that speed with mind. I need it, I need it, I need it. When the heart throbs for something and loses its vigilance. Valmiki says, Pullalochana, a very picturesque description on seeing that deer in Panchavati. Valmiki at that time describes the eye of Sita. On seeing that deer, Sita's eyes expanded. What does it convey? It conveys that Sita loses vigilance here. As soon as she sees that stag, she loses to such a great soul, Devi. She loses to watch her own mental process. She has given the whole of mind to that stag. Okay. And Lakshmana is giving various rational. Oh, this must be Maricha, this must be Rakshasa. Such a kind of golden stag is not possible at all in nature. All these explanations become irrelevant and immaterial because the idea is already fixed. I need it. I am in need of this stag. I am in need of this deer. That idea is already fixed in the mind. Something very unusual. The one who has given up everything for the sake of Rama. The whole of kingdom, Kosala kingdom, she threw. And she never went to the Mayakagar also. What's that? Yeah. Never went to her mother's house, Mithila. She gave up both Mithila and Ayodhya, both Videha kingdom and Kosala kingdom. Such a non-attached soul, such a great soul, even such a great soul can give his or her heart to this, after all, a small deer, stag. Then what of ordinary beings like us? We are nothing in front of Sita Ma. Okay. Ramayana is cautioning. Ramayana is, we lose our vigilance. We forget what is happening in our mind. We give ourselves, we got hallucinated. We got mesmerized. We give ourselves to the Vishaya, the object which we are enjoying, object which we are experiencing. And there, with that, acceleration starts to grow in. As soon as we lose vigilance in our mind, mental acceleration starts. As soon as the mental acceleration starts, with the mental acceleration, as the cause, having the cause as mental acceleration, we see an acceleration in the vital also, in our pranamaya kosha also. With that pranamaya kosha's acceleration, we see acceleration everywhere in the organs, in the limbs of our body also. This kind of acceleration hands over our whole physical system to sympathetic nerve. Okay, two systems are there in our body. One, sympathetic nervous system. Two, parasympathetic nervous system. Normally, when we are listening to a lecture or while we are writing something, while we have an evening walk, while we are listening to a soothing song, while we are having a casual conversation with our friend, the body is under the control of parasympathetic nervous system. Parasympathetic nervous system maintains the normal state of body. Okay, keeps us healthy. But what happens, for example, when a serpent comes to our chamber, suddenly we start to react. We resolve either to fight with that serpent or to flight from that place. We resolve. At that time, what happens to our body? Parasympathetic nervous system hands over this body to sympathetic nervous system. This process happens. Why? Parasympathetic nervous system by itself cannot handle this problem. This is a problem at the time of social unrest. Government may hand over the nation to the military forces. Emergency can be declared. Emergency can be declared. As soon as military forces enter into the nation, as soon as military forces take the power in charge, the whole nation will get accelerated. Everything will be running in speed with military discipline. Okay. It will not be in normalcy. Then, as soon as this social unrest is settling down, again from military, the whole nation will come under the control of a sovereign democratic government. Parasympathetic nervous system is like democracy. If our body is nation, parasympathetic nervous system is a democratic sovereign government. And the sympathetic nervous system is like a military force, military rule. Okay. So when the government feels difficult to control the unrest people, government invites military to control them. In the same way, parasympathetic nervous system is unable to control the system at the time of unrest, at the time of stress. So naturally, the things get shifted to sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic nervous system starts to control the body, then the speed grows and gradually gets controlled. So the whole thing is going on. But when sympathetic nervous system continues to, when we give more opportunity to the sympathetic nervous system to work in our body, body gets corrupted. Body invites various kinds of diseases. First, it affects some particular organ of our body which is weak. It may have some, genetic weakness. Some organ may suffer from genetic weakness, so that part of our body will be affected first. First, the disease First, this acceleration affects from Adi. Adi means a psychic illness. Adi means psychic depression, psychic unrest. From that Adi, first it starts to affect our stomach. It can lead to indigestion problems. That is why normalcy of stomach is quite often spoken in Yoga Shastras for almost all asanas, almost. Among listing various results for asanas, among these results, one of the most important results, not only for asanas but also for kriyas, in Hatha Yoga Pratipika, Swatmarama says, Dehanala Vivardhanam. Dehanala Vivardhanam. This asana leads to the growth of the fire in the body. What is the fire in the body? Fire in the body is fire in the stomach. There's fire in the stomach, which is called as Vaishwanara. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva. Praninam Dehamavsitaha. Food is entering inside. We are cooking in the external world and we are consuming that. And inside Pachami Annam Chaturvidam. Inside again, Antaryamin is cooking further. Okay. For that, there is a fire in stomach. And if stress affects us with that, this fire loses its balance, leading to overdigestion or indigestion, ajirnatvam, kujirnatvam, atijirnatvam, then further leading to some malady, some disease in a particular part of our body which is weak genetically. Then from that, the stress starts to flow from tip of our head to top of our toe, tip of our toe to top of our head. Anywhere this disease can spread, this acceleration can spread and can cause so many kinds of troubles. And fortunately, in our postmodern lifestyle, we have developed such kind of activities, professions, jobs, even dress, and even the way of talking, and even the way of food habits, all these junk foods, all these things we have designed for acceleration, for speed. On the other hand, our traditional way of life, in our traditional way of life, our ancestors, our Pitras, they developed a lifestyle which can calm our mind, which can silence, which can calm our mind, which can make us to be in peace. The way they dressed, for example, if we wear some tight clothes, that can create stress. Wearing dhoti can make you stress-free. Starting from this, whatever our ancestors did under their lifestyle, early morning waking, having the early morning bath, doing japa, sandhya, pranayama, dharana and dhyana, everything is related to calming the mind, calmness of mind, various rituals, various practices, various features of our culture. A young boy may ask, why this, why that, why that? Why are you lighting a lamp? Are you a fool? On those days, they lighted lamp at the evening because there was no tube light. Now tube light has come. Unnecessarily, why are you lighting another lamp in front of, in puja room, in front of the idol? These are all not required. A young boy may ask question after question after question regarding the practices in our culture. There may be so many answers too. Why are you eating this kind of food? What are you doing with that? Why you have to prostrate before God in this way? So many answers can be given. But in Bhagavatam, there is one shloka. Bhagavatam gives only one answer for all this infinite number of questions. Because we have n number of practices, as we have infinite number of practices, we can ask infinite number of questions. For everything we can ask why. Why? Why this, why that? There is single answer. There is only one answer. Bhagavatam says, Sarve manonigraha lakshanantaha parohi yogaha manasa samadhihi. Sarve manonigraha lakshananta. All these practices, rituals, and the cultural elements are only to silence our mind. Manonigraha lakshanantaha. The greatest yoga is to be in silence. Parohi yoga manasa samadhi. The greatest yoga is samadhi, seedless samadhi. Even the very etymological meaning of yoga is that. Yuju samadho. Yoga is equal to samadhi. Okay. So, calming the mind, silencing the mind. Sarve manonigraha lakshana. This is the answer for everything. This is the answer for all the celebrations we have. Like Navrats. You know, in our South Indian culture, at the time of Navaratri, if we have a girl child in our house, we decorate that girl child as Devi. And this Devi, this girl, takes a kunkuma box. She goes to neighbors' houses, small child, girl child, she goes to neighbors' houses and requests them, please come to our house for Navarats. For Navaratri, please come to our house. Okay, with her long braid, with her ornaments, a small child, she goes to 4 or 5 houses around us. We are celebrating Navaratri, please do come. She invites. They also become happy. They feel that Devi has come to our house. In this practice, what we see? We see only calming the mind. Amma, mother is coming to our house. This is calming the mind. A simple practice of decorating a girl as Devi and sending to 3 or 4 houses. This is Indian. This is Indian culture. But what came from West to us? It's a simple example. We are celebrating Navaratri. Something came to us from West. What's that? Halloween Day. Halloween Day. What's that? The children, the kids have to be decorated as ghosts and monsters. And they have to go to neighbor's house and threaten the neighbors. Threaten the neighbors and collect some money from them. Okay. Those who collect more will win prizes. The celebration is called as Halloween Day. Now we see in India, not in India, in the main cities of India, like Bangalore or Mumbai, we have forgotten to celebrate this Navaratri element. Okay. Decorating our daughter, girl as kid as Devi and sending to 3 or 4 houses. That practice has gone. This Halloween Day practice has entered. What's the difference between this Halloween Day practice and this Navarat practice? In Navaratri practice, we calm the mind, feeling that our kid is Devata, our kid is Devi. Here we are impelling the instincts of our mind in Halloween Day by decorating our own child as a ghost. Okay, this is a simple example of the shift of lifestyle. In this way, every walk of our life has got corrupted. Taking a sattvic food with a dal or sabji is a very nice, having a very nice food is different. That has gone. Okay, because that has to be cooked. Family has no time to cook. Therefore, junk food. We have the concept of junk food. No more dosa, no more idli, no more pongal, which is very sattvic. But what? Only sandwich and a bread kind of food, which can develop more fat, which can make us more rajasic and tamasic. In that way, starting from food style, everywhere I believe that we have various elements to create diseases in our life. Unfortunately, in the modern world, in the name of development, what we have done, we have created various things which can trigger our mind, which can speed up our mind, accelerate our mind. So reverting. Can't we revert to the path of our ancestors, where we can calm our mind, so that the whole body, okay, and the organs of our body can get calmed. And this has to be contemplated. Okay. If we get a spiritual wellness, following that spiritual wellness, naturally, Atmana vindate viryam. Kenopanishad says, the strength can be derived out of Atman. So can we derive that strength, that health from our core soul, from Atman, from Ananda and Anandamaya Kosha? Anandamaya Kosha and Vijnanamaya Kosha are free of diseases. Diseases start only from Manomaya Kosha. Manomaya Kosha penetrating through Pranamaya Kosha settles in our Annamaya Kosha. This is the process of disease. More we stay in the core self, can we bring that peace and make that internal peace of the self to pervade up to our body. Apyayantu mama angani. Vak pranaha chakshuhu srotram atho balam indriyani. It's a beautiful mantra. Every sense, every organ of our body, the whole of our body up to Annamaya Kosha, all these things can be charged with the resonance of internal self, so that we can lead a healthy way of life. What is spiritual health? A little before I said, through spiritual health, we can bring the mental health and the physical health. What is spiritual health? What is spirituality after all? The word spirituality is derived from spirit. Spirit, we know, spirit means self, consciousness, conscious being. Okay? So spirituality is the science of consciousness, science of that pure self, which is beyond the thoughts, instincts, and emotions. So, spiritual health means this, from this conscious being, conscious force is derived directly, and that pervades throughout our body to bring this body to normalcy or normality. What is this normalcy or normality? Swasthaha. Swe. Atmani tishtati. So, swasthaha. Prakrutau sthitaha. These are the words for arogya. These are the words for health in Ayurveda Shastras. Swasthya. Prakrutau sthitaha. When Rama comes to normalcy, after lamenting for Sita, Valmiki says, now Rama is in his normalcy. Prakrutau sthitaha. Prakrutau sthitaha. So, these are the expressions. So, for this normalcy, we have to come back. We should use, around us, we have various our cultural elements. We have a lot of temples. In every Hindu house, we have a chamber, puja room. Puja room we have. Every Hindu has a small temple in his house. It's very interesting. Others also can follow it. Okay. Lot of cultural elements are there around us. But what is important is, can we use these things to take us to that peace? Okay. Can all these things, if we develop that kind of spirit, then with all these things we can lead definitely a healthy and happy life. Again, I conclude my session with the same Lord Shiva with whom we started this. Prathamo Daivyo Bishak. The mantra, we all know this mantra. Chambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityormukshi yamamrutaat. Trambakam yajamahe. May we meditate on that three-eyed Lord, Shiva. Sugandhim, who is fragrant. Pushti Vardhanam, who nourishes to the best level. Pushti Vardhanam. Urvarukam iva bandhanat. May I get released from the bondage of death. May I get released from the bondage of death like a cucumber naturally falls from its fold. Fall has to be natural. It should not be artificial. In the same way, we also should get released from the bondage of death in a very natural way. That's a very wonderful prayer. Physical ailments can be eradicated by these kinds of mantras. Mahatma Gandhi says in one of his talks, this mantra, Rama mantra, Ramanama, is the foundation of whatever I talk in the name of natural healing. You may be knowing this is another dimension of Gandhi and all. That's a different thing. Another dimension of Gandhi is he has discovered a lot of concepts in natural healing, nature cure. Okay, he says this Rama mantra is the foundation of all what I am talking about, nature cure. So these kinds of mantras, when we recite at the time of such situations like a corona situation and all, we get the release of the diseases by the calm mind, which comes as effect of this mantra recitation. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ranganji. It was a very effective, very interesting, and the session that was needed for this hour. I hope all the gatherings have nicely enjoyed this session. We now request to type in your questions